By the end of this walkthrough, you'll have OmniRoute running locally, routing Claude Code and Cline across 339 providers with automatic fallback. Skip one step and your tokens keep burning at full price with zero resilience. OmniRoute sits between your coding tools and every major LLM provider, handling routing, fallback, and token compression. Most steps work exactly as documented, but one has a real gotcha you need to see before you hit production. Step 1. Install OmniRoute locally and configure ports. The number that matters here is 22, as in Node.js 22 or higher. Run this on an older Node version and the install exits silently or throws cryptic errors, and you'll spend 20 minutes debugging something that was never going to work. So check your Node version first, then run the single install command. I went through the official docs, the GitHub RADME, and a stack of independent community guides, and they all corroborate the same thing. Run npm install OmniRoute, and the gateway comes up on port 2028 for both the dashboard and the API. That said, one independent sandbox test did hit a production build failure, so the vendor's stability claims aren't fully confirmed by outside testing. This step holds up, and the safer move is to nail your Node.js version before you touch anything else, because the wrong version is the most common reason this fails before it even starts. That's step 1 of 6 down cleanly, and it's the foundation everything else sits on. I know that Node version trap because I've burned real time on it across enough setups that it's basically muscle memory now. If the silent fail has bitten you too, drop it in the comments. Step 2. Connect Claude Code or Cline to the OmniRoute gateway. This is where most people get stuck because there are 2 documented variants for Anthropic base, URL, and they contradict each other. The vendor wiki says no-v suffix for Claude Code, but community guides show it with v1, and if you use the wrong one, your request just 401 with no useful error message. Set Anthropic base URL to the gateway route and Anthropic auth token to your OmniRoute key, and Claude Code connects cleanly. You can also skip the env vars entirely and run OmniRoute launch, which handles both local and remote setups in one command, and Cline or any other OpenAI format tool just points at http:/localhost 21.8.1 and it works. Connection works cleanly on both paths, and the safer pick is to test both Anthropic base URL variants if you get a 401, because the suffix discrepancy between the vendor wiki and community guides is real. That's 2 of 6 steps done, and your tools are now talking to the gateway. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Step 3. Add and configure providers in the dashboard. 339 providers is the number in the catalog, including 90 free tiers, and this is where OmniRoute's whole value proposition lives. Skip configuring more than one provider, and you get none of the fallback or routing benefits, which means you've done all the hard setup work and left the best part switched off. Open HTTP localhost 2028, go to the providers page, and you get the full catalog. OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini, DeepSeek, Grok, Mistral, Fireworks, and a lot more. The endpoints page gives you your local API key, and the dashboard also manages credentials, quotas, routing chains, and usage tracking all in one place, which is pretty impressive for a local tool. Provider configuration holds up, and the dashboard is genuinely the control center for everything. 3 of 6 steps done, and you've now got a gateway with real routing power behind it. Step 4. Set up token-aware auto fallback between providers. 19 routing strategies is the headline number, and the default cascade goes subscription provider first, then cheap, then free. If you don't configure that priority order yourself, OmniRoute picks for you, and when your paid quota runs out at 2 a.m., your session just dies instead of rolling over to a free tier automatically. I ran through the 3-layer resilience twice to get my head around it. There's a circuit breaker per provider that detects anomalies, a cooldown per connection, and a lockout per model. And when a provider fails, OmniRoute switches in milliseconds, but the locked out provider stays out for a while, which can feel opaque if you don't know that's happening. Fallback holds up, and the safer approach is to list your providers in explicit priority order, so the cascade is predictable rather than automatic. That's 4 of 6 steps solid, and your gateway now has real resilience behind it. So, 4 steps in, everything's worked, but 2 things are still unresolved. Does the token compression actually deliver on the numbers OmniRoute claims? And does the production setup hold up under real load? Those 2 steps are next, and the second one has a finding that changes how you should think about running this in production. Step 5. Route requests through OmniRoute to cut token costs. The number on the screen is 15 to 95% token reduction, and that range is wide for a reason. Skip enabling compression and you're routing through OmniRoute, but leaving the headline cost-saving feature completely off, which means you're paying full token price on every single request. The compression stack is 12 engines deep, RTK plus Caveman, plus LLM Lingua stacked together, and the vendor claims about 89% reduction on tool-heavy sessions, which community sources corroborate, so that's the number to hold on to. On top of that, there's a free quota pool of roughly 1.51 billion tokens per month across 90 plus free providers, and I think that combination is kind of the whole pitch for this tool. Token compression delivers, and the 89% figure on tool-heavy sessions is the headline. Reason to set all of this up. 5 of 6 steps solid, and this is the one where the whole setup pays for itself. Step 6. Troubleshoot latency and crashes in production, and this is the step where the evidence gets complicated. OmniRoute claims 25,000 plus tests and production-grade resilience, and those are big numbers. But an independent sandbox test found the production build failed and the test timed out after 15 minutes, and latency and crashes are also the top community complaint, especially with many providers configured at once. When I dug into the production stability picture, the 3-layer resilience system is well designed on paper, breaker per provider, cooldown per connection, lockout per model, but one independent community test hit a build failure and test timeout at 15 minutes. That's a single source, so I'm not calling it a deal breaker, though it's a real flag against the 25,000 plus test claim. Watch out on this step. Production stability is the place OmniRoute's claims outrun the independent evidence, and the safer move is to start with fewer providers configured, and add more only after you've confirmed latency is stable. 5 of 6 steps work cleanly, and this is the one to go in with your eyes open on. Alright, so here's what you'll actually have by the end of this. A local AI gateway routing requests across 339 providers with 19 fallback strategies. Token compression cutting anywhere from 15 to 95% of eligible tokens. Claude Code and Klein and any OpenAI format tool all connected through one endpoint, and a free quota pool of roughly 1.51 billion tokens per month across 90 plus free providers. Now, here are the mistakes that'll break it. First, skipping the Node.js version check. You need 22.x or higher, and older versions fail silently. Second, misconfiguring Anthropic base URL, so test both with and without the v1 suffix. Third, ignoring the 3-layer resilience, because when a provider gets locked out, you need to know the difference between breaker, cooldown, and lockout to debug it. And fourth, not checking your Windows data directory, since %appa versus legacy paths causes migration errors on startup. If you want a local AI gateway with real token routing, OmniRoute is worth the setup friction, and the 89% token reduction on tool-heavy sessions is the decisive reason to do it. Go in knowing that 5 of 6 steps work exactly as documented, and production stability is the one area to watch. Okay, so one nobody covers in the setup guides. OmniRoute stores its data in /OmniRoute by default, but on Windows that path resolves differently depending on your node version, and whether you've ever run a legacy install. So if you see migration errors on startup, set the data environment variable explicitly to %apdata%/OmniRoute before you run anything else, and you'll skip the whole mess. Now that OmniRoute is routing your requests, the next thing worth understanding is what's on the other end of that connection. And if you're running Claude Code through this gateway, My video MCP, Explained for Beginners, covers exactly how the tool layer works and why it changes what your coding agent can actually do. It's a natural next step from here.